we're all artists, either good or bad, responsible or irresponsible. Like we are all called to like make things with the world. And so
Mhm.
that really informed my imagination as well of somebody who's interested in the artist and who's always like considered myself an artist, but that actually like we are all artists and we are all creative participants in our places. And so how could the arts be one really central way of helping all of us, whether we're painters or poets or whatever, but to engage in our environments in deeper ways that allowed us to form connection um, and to understand one another and to weave together, all of our stories.
Love it. I love it. Okay, so then you graduate, you're in Scotland, correct?
Hmm.
And then we're feeling homesick. Um, when you came back, did you go straight back home? Did you grow up in
Yeah,
Georgia?
we moved back to Georgia in 2012, where I got a job at Point where I'm still teaching.
Okay.
So my parents live about 2 hours south of me, so I'm close to where I grew up.
So then you come back to Georgia with this, like, in some ways, like reimagined lens on the world, back to your homeland. And then tell us about how you began to like put more thoughts together and felt more of like a vocational calling to integrate this that kind of resulted in this first book.
Yeah, so I came back. The interesting thing is, I spent the whole time that I was living in St. Andrews missing home, like feeling a bit displaced and missing
Mhm.
home. And then I moved back and then felt a bit displaced because I had
Mhm.
moved away and had grown and become someone else and had all these life experiences. And then even though I was home, I wasn't the same, and home wasn't the same, and I wasn't the same, right?
Yes.
And so I think that that's why this idea of placemaking um, really began to enter my imagination as, our places are kind of constantly changing and our experiences of places change over the course of our life through um, relationships and experiences that we have. And we all have varying experiences of our place, right? Depending on who we are and, you know, how we grew up and even if we are like from the same area. And so just sort of imagining like how, when I moved back, I had to think about how am I like re-engaging with my place in a real way that I am invested in it and that I am trying to put down roots here, even though like I have roots, but they're not, like the sort of like tension of that. And um, so placemaking, I began to think about myself as a placemaker and like all of us as people who are made in the image of a creative God as placemakers, right? That Adam is the first placemaker in the garden, tilling and keeping and naming the animals. All of those are placemaking activities. And and the thing that I've come to since then, I think that placemaking as an idea can become really like dangerous if we think like I hold this power to make the place like apart from
Mhm.
any other human engagement. And so alongside that, I think we have to hold, and I think like Wendell Berry does this really well. To hold the stories that are written into the landscape and into the history and into varied human experience that is different among people based on, race and class and gender and, all of these different ways of experiencing creation and its communities. And so, how can we be responsible placemakers, to use that kind of Berryan language? Um, in relationship to other responsible placemakers and stories. And so placemaking, I think, is a lot about place finding and place keeping and peacemaking and all of these kind of things that go along with that. That if we're going to be responsible participants in our places, that sometimes that involves confessing our history, which is a lot of what my work has been lately. It involves like learning and unlearning. It involves making anew. That there are all these kind of threads that are entangled together.
It's fantastic. It makes me think, Jen, and maybe this is a, well, let me say this. Maybe we'll come back to this later. I am so fascinated with the I'm thinking about this personally. I think everyone might have this experience. I think everyone probably would, that we all have this experience, just going all the way back to you moving back to Georgia, of like knowing that you're going to be a different person in this particular place.